Welcome to Operational Harmony, Balancing Business and Mental Well-Being, a podcast with honest discussions about professional life and mental well-being in a natural conversational way. Your host is Nikki, founder of Nikki's Office, where she supports entrepreneurs through operations, systems, and strategy. And now, let's hear from our guest.
Hi, my name is Bob Thompson. I am a 20-year real estate agent and growth coach.
Okay. You said in your pre-podcast thing that you used to be a chemist?
Yes, I was actually a chemist for 9 years. So basically what happened is, good Lord, it's been a long time. I would say probably 2003, 2004, I basically had an epiphany and was just like, okay, I can't work in this lab for the rest of my life. I was making good money, 45 grand a year. Again, you're talking, this is 2003, 2004. And realistically, the light bulb came on. It was seriously a light bulb moment. I was working in the lab, but I was also in the process of going back to school to get my environmental protection degree. Tells you how long ago that was. The environmental protection degree didn't exist. It was literally a 2-year certificate. I am in freshman chemistry. I've got my own lab coat with my name on it, all my own supplies. I'm at that point, you figure I'm 30, 31, and I'm surrounded by 21-year-olds and 20-year-olds. And about day 3 of the class, just like the light bulb went off. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And that's when I decided I needed to find something else that I wanted to do, which led me into buying rental property, which led me into real estate as an agent because I found that I loved the hunt, the search, the process, the negotiations. That's what I loved about it. In 2005, my ex-wife and I, we put a 3-year plan together, which basically was, okay, by the time we get done with this 3-year plan, I'm going to be able to leave the chemical plant and go full-time as a real estate agent. So we basically made sure we had all of our debt paid down. We had 2 car payments at the time. We paid those off. We paid down any extracurricular credit card debt that we had. I mean, everything. So the thought was, okay, at worst case, if I don't do well starting out the gate, we'll make enough money to at least pay the bills. We're not going to be rich or nothing, but between her income and whatever I was going to bring in from real estate, which at that point was part-time, about 25 grand a year, we would be okay. Again, we wouldn't be living high on the hog, but we would make do. And we put that plan together and actually got it done in 2 years instead of 3. And in April of 2007, I walked out of the chemical plant and never looked back. And to this day, it is absolutely one of the greatest days of my life, as far as I'm concerned.
Having that epiphany for a lot of people is life-changing, and it seems like it was for you too. Because it sometimes takes that moment of, I'm not doing this anymore before we change anything.
That's absolutely what it was. My intention was, okay, the company paid for schooling. So I'm like, if I go back and take the free schooling and get this environmental protection degree, which I was interested in, then I can move out of what I'm doing in the lab with 12-hour shifts and all of that, and perhaps move into something a bit more independent. And it made sense from that perspective. But it took me sitting in that classroom to where I was just like, I'm done. And when I came home and we finally sat down and talked about it, it's, do you want me working 12 hours and coming home miserable, or do you want me happy? Let's be honest. You can get me either way. The fact of the matter is, yes, this is a great unknown adventure, but at the same time, it's got to be done. I was absolutely miserable. And to make that move at 35 when I left, that's one thing I've learned. And I tell my agents and I tell my folks when I'm coaching, my attitude is always work in the dark, which means don't tell a damn soul what you're doing, because let's be honest, people are negative. And I had everybody tell me that I was making a mistake. You're in the middle of a recession in 2007 and you're going to go full-time in real estate. You've got a great job. This is the best job you've ever had. And you're going to fail. 2008, I doubled my income my first year and quite honestly, never looked back. It literally was, it's just like, you just get that feeling like it literally, I'm sitting in that classroom. I'll never get over it. It was just like, I'm done. Like just that simple as that. It's like the whole world slowed down and stopped for that minute for me to realize, okay, boom, this is what I've got to do.
You've been doing realtor for how long?
I
Like
have
3
been
years?
a full-time real estate agent since 2007. I was part-time for a couple of years before that, doing both, working the 12-hour shifts and then working the real estate on the side, trying to build up. So again, you figure the more money I made, the faster I could leave my chemical job and move on to real estate full time. And I've been rocking and rolling ever since.
Okay. So how did you add coaching?
Coaching came out of, quite honestly, I spent years as an independent agent. I would average 40, 50, 60 deals a year. I did 70 in 2017, which is a ton of business as an individual agent. A lot of short sales, bank owned properties, and all the regular stuff. At the end of 2017, again, I was killing it, rolled into 2018, bought a new car, bought an RV. At that point, I was divorced, so I was single. So I was enjoying my life. I was doing my thing. And sometimes I think, call it somebody from above or whatever you want to call it. Sometimes when we get a little bit big for our britches, we get smacked down. And June of 2018, I had my first heart attack. And then October of 2018, the day after my birthday, I had my second heart attack. And at that point, they basically said, we're done. The stents aren't working. And I had to go in, and what was supposed to be a double bypass ended up being a quadruple bypass. So by the end of 2018, I was completely flat broke. Wells Fargo canceled my credit card, canceled my checking account, and repoed my vehicle. And you haven't lived until you've walked outside on a Sunday and realize your car is gone. It's not a good feeling. But recovering from that really made me think and made me want to start giving back to my industry and what I did. And it started as simple as that, as coaching real estate agents, and from 2019 on, and then it snowballed into other people want to hear what you have to say because you've been able to recover from this and move forward again, and people are interested. So then it went to, quite honestly, regular, what I would call growth coaching, which is I talk to a lot of young people and folks that are transitioning or trying to transition from one job to the other. But obviously I still coach my real estate agents, and that's ultimately where it came from. I ignored most of the industry for the better part of 10, 12 years there, where I just kept my head down and did my thing as an independent agent. I wasn't involved in my community of real estate agents and realtors. I didn't get involved with any of that. And it took something like that for me, really, for me to go, you know what? I was blessed with some great coaches and mentors. It's about time I give something back. And it snowballed from there. Realistically, that's my long-winded answer to that question.
We wanted to go over mindset today. So how did your mindset change from being the chemist to the realtor to then figuring out it's time to give back?
So here's what I'll say on mindset. I think mindset is very important. I also think, and this is my opinion, but I've never been shy on my opinions. I think a lot of coaches and gurus, when they talk about mindset, they've manipulated it into, well, just be positive. And sometimes you can really work hard and hit a wall, and you're not doing anything wrong. The wall hasn't cracked yet. And let's be honest, life is a lot of hard work and dumb luck. It just is. It's also being in the right place at the right time. So like with my agents, we deal with a lot with compare and contrast. And I'm always like, you cannot do that because everybody's in a different environment than what you're in. Their markets may be stronger. Case in point, even when I did 70 deals, I did more business in my company than anybody in the entire company, but I would never catch them on volume. I would do the most deals, but in terms of numbers, I can't catch Northern Virginia. The cost of living in Northern Virginia is 75 to 100 grand more than what I'm at in Hampton Roads. So I'm never going to win that fight. It doesn't exist. And sometimes we have certain people that walk right into a great situation. Maybe they're in that age group where everybody's buying property and they fall right in there and they end up in that spot. And again, I think a lot of coaches and gurus talk about mindset as is, okay, if you're failing, you don't have the right mindset. No, granted, you're failing and you got to keep pushing forward, and sooner or later, the wall will break. It will. I've seen it happened a million times. It's happened in my life repeatedly. Every time I swore up and down that I was toast and nobody was ever going to hire me again, I got hired again after almost dying repeatedly. So I've seen it. Yes, ma'am. It's a cat. But so I guess my issue with mindset is I think it's very important. I know that I have always gone into these things with, for the most part, the right mindset. When I put my mind to it to leave the chemical plant, that's all I was hyper focused on. If anything, funny enough, it made me a better employee because I didn't care about all of the stuff going on in the background. You know how that is when it's, okay, I got Johnny and he's being a pain and he doesn't do his job and I got to do the work for him. And Susie's over there running her mouth and all of the drama and the politics. All of that went away because I was focused on, okay, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to do my job. And then when the bell hits, I'm out the door because I've got the job that I really want to do. So I was hyper focused on that. And it literally, when I finally left the chemical plant, they didn't really want me to leave, to where easily 2 years before that, they'd have been dying for me to go out the door. They couldn't fire me, but they didn't particularly like my attitude, which I had a crappy attitude. I'll be the first one to admit that. I wasn't the best at my job. I knew how to do everything, but I was never going to be a great employee. It wasn't going to happen. But I got better as I went on because I had my own goal. And I also, because I could do everything, I would flip flop around and go, okay, I'll work whatever shift you need me to work. And then you guys are going to give me this 3 or 4 hour gap here so I can go show property or take a listing appointment or whatever. So then it just became a better employee all the way around. The other thing I think with mindset is, I think that's why you almost have to, that's where it comes with working in the dark. You can improve your mindset by just not being around negative people. And I think that's a massive portion of it. And I think there are so many people in this world that are negative and think this and think that. And it's been my experience that if you only tell 1 or 2 trusted people, that makes the biggest difference in the world. Is that way you're not getting bombarded with negativity because nobody knows what the hell you're trying to do. So just don't tell anybody. And I'm so weird about that is I gave a speech in Arizona last year and I didn't tell my father until 2 days before I was getting on the plane because I wanted to borrow a pair of his cufflinks because it's my dad. I'm very close to my father. I tell my father everything, but in this type of stuff, because I didn't want anything to go wrong. Now I know that my father loves me and would have supported me if for whatever reason they changed their mind or I couldn't go or whatever. But I'm weird like that to the point is I don't tell anybody until it's either already happened or it's on the cusp and we're getting ready to walk out the door. And that works for my needs. It just does.
Mm-hmm. There is just my friend that I live with who gets to know things about me on the regular. Everybody else gets filtered to if it's necessary. And if it's not, they don't get to hear about it.
Yeah.
They can listen to my podcast and figure it out.
Yeah. No, and you're not wrong. And I describe it as I enjoy playing poker in my time off. We have a local casino here now. And I compare it to do you want to be the 24-year-old that wears the sunglasses and knows all of the lingo and can play with the chips, but loses $300 every day? Or do you want to be the 70-year-old that's been playing in poker since he was born, is retired, keeps his mouth shut at the table, plays, and then walks away every day with $300 or $400 in his pocket? I don't know about you, but I want to be that guy. I don't want to be the one sitting there talking about, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and never actually get it done. So I think that's a lot of it. And I think when I put my book out, I didn't tell anybody. I put the book out literally until I handed the copy to my father and was like, here you go. And I had a little dedication to him and my mother in the front of it. And that's the first time he'd seen it, knew about, or heard about it, because that's just, and then when I posted it, I'll put it on Amazon and all of that. And then I was like, oh, by the way, I did a thing. Here's the link. And everybody's like, that's just the way I'm wired at this point. I just don't think it's I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'd rather just do my thing. And I seem to be going off on a tangent here, so I apologize. But I think it's important that, again, do you want the victory or do you want to tell everybody about the victory? Difference, right?
Yeah. You just said that you wrote a book. What is that about?
The name of the book is called Want More, Take More, which is basically, and I hate to sound like a commercial, but I don't know any other way to do it, which is annoying, but I haven't figured out a better way to do it. It's basically the 3 checks that I use to get from chemist to real estate agent and then rebuild my life. So basically is you do what I call a personal life check, which is have an honest moment with yourself, multiple, and go, what do I really want? And part of that is your professional life check, which in my case, I did that first. Okay, I want to get my environmental protection degree and that'll fix these other things. Okay, clearly that didn't work because it gave me the epiphany. And the financial self check, which I think is a big one, which is, okay, why am I broke all the time? And if I'm broke because I don't make enough money, that's one thing. That can be adjusted and we can try to make arrangements to do the best that we can with that. But if I'm broke because I'm going to the bar every weekend and spending $200 that I don't have, I'm not saying cut that off cold turkey, but at least start cutting back. If I want to do a different job, I've got to find time to put the work in on whatever the quote unquote side hustle is, which means maybe not go to the bar at 7 on a Friday night, go to the bar at 8, maybe not stay till 2, maybe go home an hour early, maybe not have as many drinks, spend less money. You're going to feel better in the morning, regardless of age, and you'll get a lot more done to get ready for the thing that you really want. So that's really what it's about in a nutshell. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but that's the bigger basis of the entire thing is the 3 self-checks and just being honest and communicating with yourself. And that means it's not a one and done situation. It's okay. In my case, it's about every 6 months. It'll be like, okay, where's this going? And do I need to adjust? And there's nothing wrong with that, whether it's in your personal life, your professional life. If I find myself getting a little free with my finances, okay, what do I need to do to rein that back in? Okay, you need to cut back on that or do something or adjust somewhere along the way, which again, I think mindset plays a factor in that because again, a lot of the gurus and all of that are like, your mindset is everything. And they'll use the excuse, you don't have the right mindset, which is why you're not successful. That's crap.
Toxic positivity is the thing.
Yeah.
You tell somebody to be positive enough, even with a broken leg, they're going to have a problem.
Yeah. And worse, they're going to a lot of those guys will try to have you buy your way out of it, which in other words, if you buy my course, I'll teach you a proper mindset. Oh, by the way, we're going to learn these 3 sales techniques. Oh, by the way, I need you to spend $4.99 a month for the next year to get that positive mindset. For me, my positive mindset is that I know that if I do the work, the results will come in. They may not come in right away, and that can be absolutely frustrating. And we all feel that way from time to time. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that way and acknowledging it. And I'll tell my agents this, even 20 years into it, at least once a month, I'll have that quiet day where all the stuff is wrapped up and all the new stuff is not quite ready to come to the surface. And the phone doesn't ring. And I'll just be like, that's it, I'm done. Nobody's ever going to hire me again, which is ridiculous to think. But at the same time, I can go back and go, that's silly, Bob, because you felt that way last month and this happened. You did this the month before. This entire year, you destroyed it. This other year, you destroyed it. It's a silly thought, but without a doubt, at least once a month, I guess I got to go get a job at Walmart because clearly nobody's ever going to, in 20 years, the phone's just never going to ring again. But it's not the end of the world. If I feel that way every now and again, it's not permanent and I can go back and fix it. And then I'll listen to my Les Brown or who I absolutely identify with and love.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, definitely. But again, I think that's a lot of it is you don't need to do all of that. You just need to do what works for you. Or God forbid, you know what? You want to go punch the wall for 10 minutes, go punch the wall for 10 minutes. You want to have a good cry, go have a good cry. And you put on your big boy pants and you get up and you keep moving forward because if you keep pushing, it will happen. And I think that's where the gurus, like you said, the toxic positivity have flip-flopped it and they use it. Number one, they use it to get money out of people's pockets and they use it as an excuse. Like for me, when I get in that mindset, what works for me is, like I said, you give me some old school Les Brown. Or quite honestly, and this sounds really cheesy and I don't know if there's an ego thing behind there or not. I like to think that there's not, but I could be wrong. Absolutely. Listening to some of my old podcasts that I've guested on or that I've been asked to do, simply because it's dummy, you just told the entire world that if they can do this and this, so why do you think you can't? So then it's like, oh yeah, that was pretty smart of me to say that day. Maybe I should listen to my own advice and get back up and go handle business, or at least go exercise, run around something and get the blood flowing. I don't know.
The absolute hilarious part of that is I have not listened to any of my podcasts after I'm done editing because I can't stand my own voice. Absolutely irritates the crap out of me to go, oh, wait, that's my voice. Ew. Why did I have to talk?
Now, I don't mind listening, but I don't like the look. I've got a buddy of mine that makes movies, and I've been in a couple of his movies, just small bit parts, and I can't stand to see myself on screen because I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's just it's the same way when you know how certain people just can wear a suit really well, tailored and just look like $1,000,000. I've never been able to do that. I wear stuff now that fits my body, but at the same time, I always feel like I'm the little kid wearing their father's suit at some sort of event. And unfortunately, I am friends with some people that look $1,000,000 and pimped out in their outfits. And I'll be hanging out with them at an event or something that I'm doing with them. And I'm just like, I feel like the little cousin in their family photo. That's just how I feel, especially because all these dudes are dapper and looking good. And I'm just like, "Duper, duper, duper. How y'all doing?"
Yeah, I feel the same way sometimes. Okay, why did that dress look cute on her? It would look so stupid on me. I like those dresses that kind of flow out like mid stomach,
Yeah.
but they also make me look like I'm pregnant. I got asked one time wearing one of those types dresses to school when I was like 16 if I was pregnant. I was like, no. And then I never wore one again.
Yeah. I
That
wish
was
I
a bad
could.
idea.
I do. I wish I could wear like the nice pocket square and do all of the stuff and just look dapper. I've never once ever felt that way. And granted, again, maybe I'm around the wrong group of people that look really good when they're dressed up. Maybe that's my fault for hanging out with people that look that good. I don't know, but I do. I'm just like, and I'm like 5'9", so I'm not exactly tall. So then it's that combo of, yeah, I feel like the little cousin in the family photo with Thanksgiving.
I feel like the end of Big where he turns into the little boy in the suit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a weird thing like that.
One of the things I do when my brain switches to oh, that was stupid. Why would you do that? Or you are never going to be able to do something. I put music on. I have super hearing. It sucks. But I can listen to music as long as I like the music.
Sure.
I'm the weirdest person on the planet, I swear. But if it's good music and I like it, I will listen to it at a volume that everybody else is going, why are you listening to that at that volume? But if it's a sound I don't like and it makes the slightest whisper, I'm like, no, don't do that ever again. Stop it. But if I find myself going down that waterfall where it's constantly all I can hear is the thunderous, you're an idiot volume in my head, putting the music on helps me to disengage from that and stop it.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. And I go to a lot of concerts myself, and I I'm older, so I listen to a lot of old school hip hop, and I listen to a lot of metal and stuff like that, that positive stuff. It's not all, I find myself, I can't really listen to the gloom and doom music because it puts me in a headspace I don't need to be in. It's the same reason early on, I had a very horrendous divorce, which is neither here nor there. My point is that I was asked to speak on it a couple times, and I finally just had to say no because it just drug me down. It's like, I don't want to I went through it. I survived it. I've moved on. I don't want to relive that on a freaking podcast or at some sort of forum or something. over and
Yeah.
over again. I don't have the, I don't want to waste my emotional capital is a good way that I describe it on feeling that way. I know it's important. I know it's important for other people to hear that other people have been through the same stuff. But at the same time, I don't want to throw myself on that sword repeatedly. I'm just not, I'm not going to do that. There's no purpose to it. All it does is bring me down, and that's not going to work for my day to day in my life.
Yep, that's understandable. I have had to there are some conversations that I'm perfectly willing to have about my mental health. There are a lot of conversations I'm perfectly willing to have about my mental health because I'm comfortable with where I'm at with my mental health. Not comfortable. I'm uncomfortably comfortable. But there are still certain topics that I can't go into too deeply because I'm still not at a place I can talk about them
No,
and not
that's
relive
perfectly
those
reasonable.
emotions. And I'm careful. A lot of this stuff, if you go listen to my podcast enough, you'll know an awful lot about me, but you'll also know pretty much zero about me too.
Yeah. See, I try to be open and honest, and when some people listen to it, they're just like, "Oh, I didn't know that." It's because it's dinner table conversation, or we're out and about, we're
Mhm.
all having a good time. It's not the Bob Thompson show. So you're going to have to listen to that because I may not go into a whole lot of stuff. And again, I've been told I can be mind-numbingly positive and upbeat to where it annoys certain people because they don't live their life that way. I can't really be, at the same time, I don't want to be around that type of person. So
Mhm.
I'm going to shorten that amount of time that I have to be around that person as much as possible to, because what's the point, right? We all have people that we have to cross paths with that we don't particularly care for, whether could be a best friend's wife or vice versa or whatever, or a coworker. If we work at a job where we've got to be there. So I try to limit those sort of elements in my life as much as possible and just stick with people that I absolutely find to be a joy to be around, or at least somebody that I can go and hang out and have a good time with. And sometimes it may just be surface level, but it's still a good time and I don't have to worry about all of the other stuff. And I can be the idiot that I am for all intents and purposes. Good with that. I guess one of the things that you and I talked about previously is, as I've gotten more and more into the coaching space, it's a weird thing because I absolutely love it and I want to see my people succeed and I want to get more people. But then there's a little bit of bragging that has to be done. And I'm not completely comfortable with that aspect of it, which is, hey, stick with me and you're going to be successful. Do I believe that? Certainly. And I think I've got proof in some of the agents that I've worked with. And I see that every day. So I know it to be true, but talking about it or bragging about it, whatever you want to call it, is very difficult to do. And I am very opinionated again on a lot of that stuff. Like I'm on several different real estate Facebook groups, and we'll get somebody on there that what I call the fortune cookie mentality, which is they'll post something like, a crackhead gets up every single day to get their crack. Why aren't you closing X amount of deals? And I will deliberately blast them because I think it's ridiculous. To be honest, it pisses me off because the one person that doesn't need to hear that is invariably going to be on that site where this is a site that they can ask questions and perhaps find growth, or perhaps find somebody that can help them, or just feel like, hell, this person's having the same struggles I am. So there's unity in the struggle together. So maybe I am doing everything I'm supposed to be doing and I can keep pushing forward. And now I got some jackass that's decided that he's a coach, going to tell me that the problem is, again, my mindset and the fact that apparently I'm not working hard enough. That's the only problem. First of all, the crackhead's got a drug abuse problem. That's a whole different ballgame completely. And when you post fortune cookie stuff like that, you're only doing it because you think you're going to get clicks on it. You think you're going to get someplace with it. And then you wonder why you get basically 9 out of 10 times, nobody responds to those posts. They either laugh at them or they ignore them. I'm like, if you came from a position of support and empowerment, real support and empowerment, and we're showing up to answer questions that these agents have, you'd probably get a lot further than just to, again, hit me up with your fortune cookie wisdom because, oh, it's Thursday and I posted fortune cookie wisdom last Thursday. So today is my Thursday fortune cookie post. And you'll
Mm.
see a lot of that going on. And then they'll give, I don't know why you seem very angry, Bob. Why are you yelling at me about this? I'm really just trying to be helpful. No, you're
No, you're
not.
not.
We all know
It
what you're
seems
doing. I'm the jackass that's going to call you out over it because I think it needs to be, oh, you think you need to be called out over it. And I don't care enough not to. You're not putting any
Mhm.
money in my pocket. And I think I keep hoping that if I call these type of people out, that maybe they'll quit posting. And some of them, I think, start to realize, ooh, somebody just called my bluff on that. That sort of stuff in any industry just drives me up the wall because it's not doing any good. It
Mhm.
doesn't do any good. And it honestly, I think it can hurt the one or two people that you and I will never see. We're not going to know what it did to them. That person that is struggling day in and day out feels like they're doing the best that they can. And you've basically told them that they're worthless because they can't work as hard as a crackhead. So they either A, give up, or B, get deeper and deeper into their own brain and then start to slowly shut down because you've basically told them that they're worthless. You didn't inspire anybody. You've really, and those are the people we will never see, the ones that didn't make it in whatever the industry may be because they just gave up because they had some jackass tell them some garbage. And then they're just like, if this Mr. Guru guy, who, if you go to his Facebook page, it says in big bold letters that he's a coach and he's done 1,000 million things and, oh, buy the book and take the course and do all of that. If he thinks I'm worthless, maybe I really am worthless. So I'm just going to quit. That's what I think people don't see. And that's why I think it's so important that if you can't do that and act that way. You've got to be able to come with value and with some sort of positivity and respect when it comes to that. And that's how I feel about it. And it drives me up the wall.
The way I was taught to show up in groups, especially like Facebook or any other place online, especially, is you shouldn't be trying to sell anything to anybody and you should come with the helpful attitude. If somebody has a question and you know the answer because of whatever reason, like you've been there, you've done it, you've got the t-shirt, then you help them. And then that gets you noticed as you help more people. And that can lead you to success in other places, right? But I
Absolutely.
think there's also the other side of that where people are quick to promote themselves everywhere. Like you see it all the time. Oh, I went to the food pantry today. So
Yeah.
you have those YouTube videos where people are walking up to homeless people and shoving a camera in their face. Stop doing that. That's so rude.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
not
look
actually
at me.
helping
He's
them
giving them
to help
$100.
them. Yeah, you're not helping them to help them. You're helping them to help yourself. And you really, when you're trying to show up for people, you need to do it in the way that you're showing up to help others, not just help yourself.
Absolutely. And
Because
join organizations that you feel passionate about or that make sense to your needs. And when I say your needs, okay, these people resonate with me. These are people that I would like to know a little bit better. And they're doing good things within the community, whether it's, if I'm ex-military, then it's maybe the VFW or something like that. In my case, I don't do the standard, okay, let's go to the bar and talk to a bunch of other real estate agents at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday. I'm old. I'm 53. 9 o'clock, I'm in bed. Sorry, I'm not bumping and bumping. But I'll go to an organization that I'm a part of, like Diverse Hampton Roads, to where I can have genuine conversations. There are not going to be as many people in that room, but these are people that I like to speak to, that I have good dialogue with, and we can talk about things that are
can make
going on
them.
in the world and try to support each other within our businesses and go, okay, you need help with this. Great. This guy over here, here's his number. Tell him that you talked to Bob. Or, hey, Angela, this guy needs this. Oh, Angela says, okay, you need to go talk to Rashida and she can help you with that. That's helping and community and doing all of that without all of the extra baggage and or credit slapped behind it because you're doing it simply for that point.
Yeah, genuine connections are something that people have said is in this year. And I was just like, wait, when did it go out? Why does it need to come back in? Genuine connections should always be your purpose, right?
Yeah,
I
you would
am,
think.
I am, I'm pretty good at putting plans together for social media. I am pretty bad at doing my own. But that's because I am operations for a lot of people. So I don't have the time to go do that. And I don't want to at the moment. So I'm good with it. But that doesn't mean I don't know how to help other people with theirs. It just means that I'm choosing not to work on mine so I can work on yours and have the bandwidth to do it. Because if I do social media for 6 people in one day, I'm going to end up bald. I'm going to be so bored and I'm going to be so done and I'm going to be so bald. You have way too much hair to go bald. Okay, I do that. I put my energies where they need to go. Do I volunteer? Yes. Do I make a big deal out of every place that I volunteer? No. Because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help whatever thing I'm doing right then.
Yeah.
And if you get your fame on earth, you have nothing coming in the next life, right?
Yeah.
So I don't play those games. I don't need to tell everybody where I'm volunteering. I don't need to tell everybody every tiny little success I've had. My successes that I am most proud of have to do with my mental health, and they're not successes that most people understand.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that.
Because I have, since 2017. So 5 plus 3, carry the 1. So 14 years almost of having my brain back after 10 years of or 5 years of not having it, of being so deep in the depression that I couldn't function. Every day is, okay, where am I at? Okay, I'm doing pretty good today. That's great. I must have taken my meds last night.
There you go.
That kind of thing. I appreciate where I am because of where I've been. And like the whole purpose behind the podcast, behind everything I do is always to help the next person. I tell my story and the different problems that I've come up against with my mental health in my business. Not to be, oh, look at me. And I think I've said that way too much in my podcast recently, but it's to help the next person.
Yeah.
Because I'm not out here, when I do put up my podcast and stuff, I do things to highlight the guest. I might highlight one question of mine in the week that person's podcast goes up. Like one tiny little thing. It's fine. And I don't even like listening to it because of course it's my voice. So and then it's all over my social media. And when I'm scrolling, I'm like, oh, ew, that was me. Let's skip that real quick.
You're blocking and deleting your own social media just so
Right?
you don't have to look at it.
Just scroll that real quick. Are you interested in this? No, absolutely not. I did that. I already lived it.
You're
Goodbye.
complaining and sending it over to Facebook. This ad is illegal. Get rid of this.
I already have this. Already purchased. Leave me alone.
There you go. There you go. This is spam. I just spammed my own self and said it was spam.
Yeah. I think everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
And if we try to go to the extreme and say everybody has to be positive all the time or only good vibes here, then we're blocking out a lot of the element of, hey, constructive criticism is a thing.
Yeah.
And if we can't take a little bit of feedback, then we have probably puffed ourselves up too much and we need to take a step back
Yeah.
and really evaluate where we are.
And absolute abject failure will teach you a hell of a lot more than just constantly winning all of the time. There's no doubt in my mind, I've lived it, I've done it, I've dealt with it, that absolutely losing everything is an amazing teacher. Unfortunately, it sucks, but it goes that way sometimes, right? That's just the way it goes. And that's all you can do is pop back up and try to start moving forward, even if it's in little small bites. I find I do a better job of working with my strengths than I do my weaknesses, because some of my weaknesses would take me the rest of my life to try to fix my weaknesses. So I would rather, if I'm not good at being super organized, then I'm going to try to outlie that out to either another person or put it in a CRM to where I can keep up it that way, because I may not be good at that. I'm really good at walking into the house and saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I'm good at talking to my agents and keeping them straight, but I may not be great at keeping myself straight, and trying to fix that all of the time doesn't leave me the opportunity to do the things that I'm really good at, or the things that I really enjoy being good at. Because that plays the factor in it too. Because if you know you suck at something and you keep trying to do it, it's only going to frustrate you, especially if it's something that you don't necessarily care about enough to get better. You're doing it because somebody else has said you need to get better at this. That would be different. I don't know how to play the guitar. I would always like to learn, but I also know how I am, and I haven't set up the bandwidth to go, you know what, I'm going to learn to do this. So I'm not going to go buy a guitar. I'm not going to half-ass practice it once a week for 10 minutes. I'm going to leave it alone until I get to the point where I can, okay, this is going to be maybe my new thing or whatever. I'm going to take the next 6 months to a year and learn how to play the guitar. But until that point, I'm not half-assing it. I'm just not going to mess with it at all, because I know what's going to happen. It's just going to frustrate me.
Yeah. So when I say I work on my weaknesses, I am not the person who's going to put together a to-do list. I get to-dos from other people and I put them places, and then I remember that I have to do them. And so I get things done. It's all in my head, or it's written somewhere and it's in an email. I know where to go look if I need to remember exactly what was said. But at the same time, there are people out there who say, if you don't have a to-do list and you don't have it structured such and such way, what are you even doing having your own business?
Yeah.
That's one of those, look, there are tasks in your business that are like 1 + 1 is 2, + 1 is 3. Let's learn how to count type things that I cannot do. I do operations. I do the bigger picture. I do all of the things, right? I get things set into motion to make things go. I cannot sit here and do, I have to click this one thing 6 times to get all the information I need out of it. No, that's going to piss me off. We better figure out a better way to do this, because I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't want to. I will go into WoW and I will click something 16 times, but that usually is keeping one of my team members alive, not sending me into mind-numbing boredom because, so in order to copy the information I need, I have to click into the calendar event, then click into this part, then copy everything, and then paste it over here, and then make sure it's format. No, geez, Grace, no.
Yeah,
No.
you're not wrong. And I think you, again, got a lot with folks that are like, I get up at 4 a.m. and then I do the ice bath and then I do this. It's not required. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. Is we had a young agent that was working with a different coach. This agent's probably 19, not a particularly verbal individual anyway, very timid, we'll say. And she was basically like, you need to cold call 50 people a day and you need to do this, and this is how you're going to make it. Number one, there's 1,000 ways to find success in real estate. And number two, he clearly does not have the personality, the bandwidth, or the whatever you want to call it. That's not going to happen. He's not going to make phone calls. So he's going to feel down on himself. He's not going to get anywhere. He's not going to move forward because you've decided this is the way he needs to do it, which is completely ridiculous. I had another agent that was like, I got to get up early. I'm like, why? Who says? If you work better at 5 p.m., then make your phone call. If you're going to make phone calls or call leads back or deal with people or whatever, do it at 5 o'clock when you're, for whatever reason, that's your circadian rhythm and you're up and moving and doing your thing, rock and roll, stay in that lane and do it that way. If you're a person that needs to have 15 distractions while you make the calls or you're doing whatever, you need to do it that way. Whatever works for you. There is no one set way to be successful. There's no one set way to do it. And not everybody has to take a freaking ice bath and get up you ain't getting me up at 5 a.m.
You ain't me up at 5 a.m. unless I was up from the night before.
Yeah. I've had enough heart issues and all of that. I'm going to bed early and I naturally will wake up at 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then I'm going to take some time to get moving. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have my cup of tea. And then 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'll probably start moseying towards, okay, let's begin the day. That works for me. Not everybody is like that. I'm also not 22 and can drink 8 Monster energy drinks all day and run. Everybody's different. And I think, again, it goes back to, we try to convince people that they have to do it our way. That's
Mhm.
not what real coaching is. That's not real support. It's do it my way. And this is the only
Mhm.
way. Not everybody has to do it that way.
My way or the
Again,
highway doesn't really work
yeah,
when you're
right.
dealing
That's
with
what I tell
different
my
people.
agents. There's 1,000 ways to be successful in my industry, and there is no one set path. And sometimes the path you end up on is not what you originally intended. It's just you either fell into a niche, or the time period where it was required, you learned that business, and that became one of the things that you're really good at. Like I've been doing short sales since 2008 for real estate, and there was so many of them. It basically became, I need to learn how to do this. And here we are 20 years later, I'm a recognized expert on short sales and can talk about it and do all of that. But it wasn't something that when I got into real estate was like, oh, I'm going to do short sales and do this and all of that. It basically, this is where everybody kept going. And it became, okay, somebody's got to sell this house. I guess it's going to be me. And you basically start going down that path. And then you look up 20 years later, you're like, oh, I guess I do know what the hell I'm talking about.
I do not do cold calls. I refuse. The first time was told I had to do cold calls, I was given some numbers, and the second number I called, I happened to call during the funeral. I could hear people crying in the background, and the guy I asked for was the deceased.
That's
I
bad.
will never do that again.
And why would you answer the phone in the middle of a funeral anyway?
I
You're at
don't
a funeral,
know.
turn
All
your
I
phone
know
down.
that traumatized the absolute crap out of me. I will not cold call anymore. Nope, unless I know the person's alive and I know the person, I'm not calling them.
See, that's the thing. I've never had a problem cold calling. It's never bothered me, but I'm not everybody. And especially with my younger agents, they don't even want to answer the phone in the first place. Everybody, and I've worked with younger clients to where everything has been text based. They don't use the phone the way I grew up using the phone, which would make
Mhm.
sense. Why would they? So it's a different world, different structure. Some people are really good at it and some people aren't, but if it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, there's 1,000 different ways to do what we do. And most jobs anyway.
Yeah, I don't have to cold call for what I do. My people tell people to come talk to me when they need something.
There you go.
Has its plus and minuses. I got a text today from somebody who was like, I can't log into this website. What's wrong? And I'm like, we are doing work on it. Maybe try a different browser. I got it on Firefox, but I couldn't in Chrome. And then I realized that the person I'm talking to who is having problems with it is actually the person who's supposed to be doing the work on the background.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. And then I'm like, my bad. I thought you were somebody else. I gave you the generic answer and didn't really help you with the problem you had. Let me fix that. And then I helped, obviously. I got her figured out. But like, it took her texting back and going, and she didn't even say, yeah, I'm the person working on it. She just was like, my email's not working. And I went, oh, you're that person. You're that person. I'm really bad when it comes to names. So this person just went, hi, I'm this name and I can't get to the site. And I'm like, that's nice. I don't know who you are, but here's the boilerplate.
Just restart your computer. It'll be the same. Everybody knows that. Just restart your phone, right? Same thing.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know how many times I've gotten a call from somebody and they're like, it tells me that I have to upload a list. And I'm like, okay, that's your contact list. Upload it. They're like, I have thousands of contacts. They're like, okay, this is where you walk away from your phone until tomorrow and try again.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take a while if you have thousands of contacts for them to upload. Okay, thank you. Yep, get in. Sometimes the answers are very simple and we can get through them rapid pace. Sometimes the problems are not so simple and they actually take work. I like the ones that take work because then my brain doesn't fry going, okay, really? You had to ask them? How long have you been using a computer?
I'm always available if somebody's got a question. Again, I'm old school. They can actually reach out and call me or text me at 757-403-5401. They can reach out to me at bobtheagent.com. I'm on all the, it's like everybody else. I'm on all the usual socials and all of that. Happy to answer questions or help out any way I can. I had a great time and I appreciate you having me on.